Greetings! I am Herbert Erpaderp, and today is the first day of the year, at least in Australia. I hope you all had an amazing New Year's celebration time, if in fact you did celebrate. If not, I hope you still had a good time. Okay, so this is mostly just going to be a recap of all my efforts in 2019 in the ongoing battle against grey plastic, or any colour of unpainted plastic really. Not that it's an especially impressive amount of models or anything, but I did at least get one model done for each month. Though unlike 2018, I haven't been holding myself to that as a goal in particular. In January, I got this pair of 28mm scale Soviet field guns done. These are from the Plastic Soldier Company. If I'm honest, I totally forgot that I'd even painted these. That kind of sounds like I think they're bad, but I don't. My memory just sucks. I had intended to build up my Soviet infantry and have them at least partially painted by the end of 2019, and that's one of the reasons I painted these guns, so that the force would have some other weapons painted. That obviously hasn't happened. I'm sure at least some of you understand how that goes. You start one project and then get distracted by another and another and another. I do still want to start painting that swarm of Soviet infantry though, so in 2020 you might see me start building some of those figures on stream. I might even paint some of them on stream. No promises though. In February, I painted this very sensible orange Sturmgeschütz 3. Unless I am mistaken, this is the first of the Tamiya 1/48 scale models that I've painted. Maybe even the first one that I built. I don't remember. Either way, it was a lot of fun. I really do enjoy doing silly non-prototype paint schemes. This model was based on the Stug I had in War Thunder. I guess I do still have it, but they did something with the decals that changed my in-game vehicle for the worse. I mean, it still plays the same, it just isn't orange all over, and in that case, why bother? I've really been enjoying the Tamiya 1/48 scale kits, and I did put together quite a few of them during 2019. That is definitely going to continue into 2020. I will almost certainly be painting at least one of them too. In March I did this Su-85, which is a 28mm or 1/56 scale model from Rubicon. Rubicon is one of my favourite wargaming manufacturers and they're doing some really exciting stuff. We are definitely going to be seeing more from them in 2020. This model is of course painted a bit more sensibly than the orange Stug. It's also intended for my bolt-action Soviet force, obviously being a Soviet vehicle. This model is the first one on which I used scale 75 paints. They did take a bit of tinkering to get them through the airbrush nicely, but I think the results are quite good. I remember being pretty happy with the way this model turned out, and I still am. In April I painted this Flugzeugabwehrkanone, which is my awful attempt at German. It's a flak gun, an 88mm flak gun. This is a 28mm scale model from Warlord. I think I did a pretty good job with this. I mean, it is pretty much just grey, but it does of course still take a bit of effort to make even a single colour look nice. I have been meaning to also get the Rubicon version of this gun, that way I can race them, but so far I haven't got my hands on one. That's a problem with there being so many cool things that you can do in this hobby. You can have so many good ideas and intentions, but there's only so much time and money that you can spend and you can't do everything. In 2020 I do plan to at least get one more flak gun, even though my German force doesn't necessarily need it. I think they're cool, and should at least make for some nice decoration for the gaming table. I actually did two models in April. The second one being this AC-1 Sentinel, with its very sensible machine gun housing. This is an Australian tank, the only one designed and built in Australia in fact, which makes it unique. It also looks interesting. Yes, that's what we'll say, interesting. Actually, I do think it's a pretty cool design. I've forgotten the name of the manufacturer of this tank, but it's in 28mm scale and made of resin and metal. Not my favourite materials to work with, but I didn't have much of a choice. I do mostly prefer to work in plastic, but I don't think there's a market for this tank in plastic. I think we're more likely to see a TOG too. I certainly wouldn't be opposed to doing another AC-1 Sentinel, maybe a scale model version instead of a wargaming kit, if one actually exists. Maybe I'll do that in 2020. In fact, I've made a note for myself to search for one. In May, I painted this giant Dystopian Wars Metzker robot. Okay, in reality it isn't that big, but in the game's scale, it's massive. I think it's a really interesting and fun-looking model, and it was mostly enjoyable to paint. The arms did manage to break off more times than I would have liked, and I do find that is a bit of a problem with resin and metal models. Superglue is well and good, but if you bump the model the wrong way or knock it over, that bond is awfully fragile. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out anyway. It is my first and so far only Dystopian Wars model that I have painted. I've got a bunch of stuff sitting around for that game, so maybe I should paint up some more. I probably won't actually play the game, but the models are pretty cool. Maybe another one will be painted in 2020. Of course, no promises though. I do have a lot of things that will make me go, "Ooh, I want to paint that." I'm sure that's the case for a lot of us, including the silly voice. In June, we commemorated the 75th anniversary of the D-Day landings with a group build, and I painted this Trumpet landing craft as part of that group build, though I didn't actually get the video done until early July. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, and I do still plan on finding something interesting to put inside of it. Maybe for D-Day 2020. I'm thinking a Jeep or something like that. The cables that raise and lower the front ramp were made by me with styrene rod instead of the string included with the kit, and I think that's made it look a lot better. The model is not based on any particular landing craft, and I didn't have any correct decals for a British one, which this one is, but I think it still looks good. In August, I painted this tiny little Opel Blitz truck. This is a 15mm scale Zvezda model, and it was the first model in that scale that I painted in 2019. I think I would like to do more 15mm scale in 2020. I do rather enjoy painting small models, though I can't really put my finger on why that is. Either way, this was a neat little kit and I very much enjoyed both putting it together and painting it. My Flames of War Germans are definitely going to be needing more transport. I mean, I only did this one truck. So maybe in 2020 I can do some more Opel Blitzes, or maybe some other form of transport. Who knows? In September I painted another Warlord kit, this time the awesome Matilda 2. I really like this kit. This is also the first time I painted a model in the Contour scheme. I bought a specific paint set to do this, and while I'm pretty happy with the result I got, the silver grey colour was a bit of a letdown, being that it's quite a bit different to that shown on the box. Still, I think it looks good, and I will be aware of that next time. I really enjoyed doing this camo scheme. It's one I've always found interesting. I do plan on doing some more British desert stuff, and I fully intend to begin building my Warlord Desert Rat sprues in 2020. Will I get it done? Maybe. In the grand scheme of things, it's not really that important. As long as I'm enjoying the things that I do. Heh, doo-doo. October saw my second 15mm scale painting video. These adorable little Panzer 38Ts from the Plastic Soldier Company. I do also have a bunch of martyrs that this kit can be used to make, however I didn't paint them, and I probably won't be painting them grey when I do. This was another enjoyable project, though to be fair they've all been pretty enjoyable. Guess that's why I do this, because I enjoy it. It is the first time that I used the Army Painter light tone, which I feel provided a really nice dirty sort of dusty look. It does work on other colours as well, I found later, but it works really nice over the grey, which I wasn't expecting, but I thought it would be worth trying. Being able to experiment and try things out is one of the things I really enjoy about painting models. Sure, there's every chance I'll ruin a paint job, and I'm not under the impression that I'm making any groundbreaking discoveries or anything, and it likely annoys people who think they already know the perfect way to do everything, but I don't care. I'll enjoy my hobby as I see fit. In November, I painted this awesome little Tamiya 1/48 scale Gaz 67B field car. Not a 69B, but close enough. Okay, so the video was put up in December, but it was actually completed in November, so I think it still counts for November. It would have been on Patreon in November anyway. This is another model on which I used the light tone for a dirty look, and I think the result is good. This probably isn't the best paint job. I mean, for the most part it is pretty good, but the headlamps did end up looking pretty messed up, and the windshield is more fogged up than I would like. Not the worst things in the world though. This might seem a bit weird, but I'm particularly happy with how the towing hook thing looks. I think the rust and dirt and grime combined really nicely. This Tamiya kit was a joy to build and paint. It's also one that I was able to give away on stream, and the recipient of that prize tells me they've also rather enjoyed it, which I think is awesome. And in December, I painted this very sensible purple Pershing. 2 unrealistic paint jobs in 1 year? Madness. I painted this model to represent the Pershing I have in World of Tanks, which is purple, but only because there's no pink available in that game. I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out, and the kit itself was another really fun build. I think it's fun to do these kind of paint jobs like a regular tank, with the only difference being the base colour. I like to imagine that the crew is using their weirdly coloured tank all deadpan, acting as though it's completely normal, so that's how I paint them. I'm very entertained by this. Anyway, that's all of the models I painted in 2019. I'm not really one for New Year's resolutions, but there are some things I would like to do, or at least try to do in 2020. First, I plan on doing more streaming. I've really been enjoying streaming, and if this whole YouTube thing goes belly up, that's where I'll be. I do want to do some more giveaways on stream, and I'm considering trying some painting streams, though they won't be a regular thing like the build streams, unless I somehow gain quite a few more subscribers. Also, I'm hoping to paint more than 12 models in 2020. I'm still not going to hold myself to that 1 model per month thing like 2018, because that's kind of stressful and reduces my enjoyment of the painting, but I am going to try and do more painting anyway. I'm pretty sure doing more than 1 model a month is going to involve some more smaller models, like more 15mm scale vehicles, and some individual figures, like figures for Malifaux or Fallout Wasteland Warfare. I think that's a nice idea. There's no promises that it's going to happen though. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this recap of painting through 2019. Maybe you've already seen all of these models, maybe you haven't. Either way, I think it works as a nice little, portfolio? Is that the right word? It's a nice way to show everything I've done last year. If you've not seen the videos or you want to watch them again, there's a link to each video in the description. I hope your 2020 is going to be an excellent year. There is a lot to look forward to, and I'm going to do my best to make sure that 2020 is way better than 2019. Now is the time where I would probably suggest that you subscribe and things like that. What I would really like is for you to join my Discord server. We've got a great little community growing there. Also, if you're into live streams, it would be awesome if you were to follow me on Twitch. I'm not actually super concerned with numbers, but I think it would be funny to get to 420 followers, or even 690. I am a mature adult. Anyway, I'm waffling a bit, so I'll say thank you to everybody who has watched, subscribed, followed, and all of that stuff in 2019. And an extra big thank you to my patrons. You've literally stopped me from starving, so thank you very much. Here's to an awesome 2020. Keep being excellent to each other, and thank you for watching. Farewell.